Subtracting whole numbers. To subtract, we line up the place values and work from right to left. So let's look at example 1. A welder has 31 inches of steel and cuts off a piece that is 12 inches long. How many inches of the original sheet is left over? So we need to line up our place values. So we're going to put the larger number on the top and then the smaller number below it. Notice we put the ones in the same column and then the tens in the same column. Now we can start on the right hand side and we can begin with 1 minus 2, which we can't do because 1 is smaller than 2. So we're going to need to borrow from this 3. And what borrowing means is that we're taking a whole 10 and then we're going to add it to this 1. So now this 1 plus 10 becomes 11. So all we need to do is just put that 1 right there because this indicates that there's an 11 there. So that's kind of how people do it. So now we can go 11 minus 2, which is 9. Then we move on to the left. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So we would say we have 19 inches. Now, let's do another example. Example 2. For a project, a welder uses 875 pounds of plate steel from an inventory that started with 1,248 pounds. How many pounds of plate steel is left over? So we have 1,248 pounds that we're starting with. And we need to subtract 875 from it. Now we line up the place values as we saw, the ones, tens, hundreds, and then there's just 1,000. Then we start on the far right and we begin to subtract. 8 minus 5 is 3. 4 minus 7 can't be done because 4 is smaller. So we're going to need to go ahead and borrow from this 2, which means we're borrowing technically a whole 100, and we're going to put a 1 there. And so then when we add 100 to this 10 spot, that's really saying that we have 14 tens, which is 140. So this 14 then can begin to go subtract from 7 from that. So 14 minus 7 is 7. Then we can go 1 minus 8, which can't be done. So we're only going to borrow from this 1,000. So now we have 11 minus 8, which is 3. So we're left with 373 pounds. Let's do the next example. Example 3. The next project requires 315 pounds of steel plate. From the inventory in the last project, how many pounds of plate steel is left over? So we need to go back to example 2. And we see we have 373 pounds that we have left over. So we're going to go 373 minus 315. We start on the far right. As we lined up our decimals, we go 3 minus 5, which can't be done. So we're going to need to borrow from the tens. So it means we're borrowing a whole 10. We're going to make this a 6 then, because we got 7 minus 1. So we have 6. Then we have now 10 plus 3, which is 13. So we're just going to go ahead and put that 1 right there to indicate that 13. So 13 minus 5 is 8. 6 minus 1 is 5. 3 minus 3 is 0. So we can just leave it as 58 pounds is going to be our leftover.